Hey, and how are you? And welcome to another great day. My name is Ronnie Jacobs. I'm the presenter for the Ronnie J Show and also the founder for Cancer Africa, Chaps UK, Chaps Kids and Kids Fashion Festival. I welcome you. Great day, great topic. We've got some amazing guests today and amazing topics we're going to talk about. Now, sometimes in business, you have to separate, you have to kind of break away for some people. Maybe you started together and or maybe they came along to help you in your business, or maybe you invited them to come and help you in your business. Sometimes maybe it just doesn't work, till you get to a point whereby you say, listen, you have to, everybody has to go their separate ways. But trust me, man, it's not that easy, is it? Sometimes you get people who will be, offended that, you've used them. Sometimes they feel that, well, if you pay the staff, then, they might feel that they gave too much in so many years, and now that the business is moving on, you can't move with them. So there's so many reasons why people might get offended, why people might get hurt, and why people might feel a lot of pain going through all that process with you. So today I've got some of my fantastic guests who are going to talk about these topics. I've got Bunmi, I've got Juliet, I've got Emily, and we'll be having Chooks, we have Esther, and we have another Juliet and Julie, actually. So we're all going to talk about how do we deal with the backlash of breaking up this relationship. We're going to ask the question, should we really continue with this relationship at work? Should we continue that business relationship because we're friends? Because sometimes, face it, we can say, oh, because we're good friends, I don't really want to hurt my friend. We just carry on with the same thing over and over again. And the situation might get better or it might get worse. We don't know, so we're going to find out today, you know what I mean? And then also we're going to talk about how do we handle the pain, and how do we handle the anger, and how do we handle the hate. So my first caller, before I give my opinion, I'll talk about my opinion at the end of the show. So we're just going to give our first caller a call. And my first fantastic guest for today is the lovely Emily, who's always been a supporter of our show. So we're just going to use our life experiences to talk about it. Okay, I love this. When you have a topic that is really exciting and you just feel that, oh, this topic is going to open a lot of some cans of worms today. All right, we're good to go. Yep, that's ringing. Hi, hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
I am buzzing. You're live on air. Welcome again, once again.
Oh, thank you.
Amazing. Please introduce yourself before we start talking.
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Emily Blake. I'm a singer, presenter, model, and also a former beauty queen as well as a supply teacher.
Fantastic. I heard you singing, man. You got a great voice.
Oh, thank you.
Why don't you go to the X Factor and all that?
Oh, the X Factor didn't want me, Ronnie. They did not want me. Yeah, I need to work on my backstories a bit more. But I've auditioned for quite a few shows actually, but it's very difficult. But thank you.
No worries, no worries. Today we're talking about going separate ways in business. Now, have you got any experience you want to share on this topic?
Yeah, a little bit. For me, I obviously sort of working kind of for myself. I have lots of different relationships in lots of different areas. I'm the official presenter of Miss British Beauty Curve each year and Miss International Curve, and that's a really good relationship that at the moment I can't see changing, which is lovely. It's about having that strong relationship with people, and both parties have to have a mutual agreement, and it has to be mutually beneficial. I think that's where things can go wrong sometimes. And I have experienced that with a couple of events companies I've kind of worked for. So I have a set agreement with the pageant system, and it works for both of us. Sometimes people can take advantage. So for me, when I was getting into presenting the first few years, I did lots for free, and I did lots in kind. And then it got to a point where I actually had to put my foot down and kind of accept myself in a way and say, okay, I am a professional presenter now. This is what I do, and this is what I want to do for a job. And it's funny, the moment that you say, okay, I'm going to require some money now, a financial benefit, some people can turn away from that, and then suddenly you find yourself without this work that you've been doing for a few years. And that's a shame, because there's always someone else who's going to do it for free, and that's just the way it is in the creative industry, unfortunately. For me, luckily I haven't had to terminate many relationships, but there have been a couple, and so I think it's
I was going to say, would you, if you were to be in that position, how do you feel about keeping that relationship going?
Yeah, I think
that person at work and that relationship going, even if you know they're not delivering in their role, for example.
Say that again, sorry?
I'm talking about would you continue with working for keeping somebody or working for somebody, even if you know that really the relationship is not getting anywhere and it's not being productive? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, you have to always try and do what's best for you, and especially if you are genuinely like a really nice, kind person, you don't want to upset people, you're a bit of a people pleaser, you want to keep these things going as long as possible because you're scared to cause upset or anything, but actually in the end it's actually just going to be a lot worse. And it's something I've had to learn is just trying to be a bit more straightforward and being true to myself, what's actually beneficial to me. You have to put yourself first sometimes.
Another question that relates to this, because one of the reasons why I asked this question is, why do some people just dislike you when they see that you're growing in your field of your joy?
Yeah, I think it's probably it's the competitive nature. Perhaps there's a bit of envy or jealousy there, and it's such a shame when that happens, because it can happen if someone's a complete stranger, but it's even more sad, but so common for it to be within your circles, to be within, with someone you thought you actually had something with, often people just don't want you to be doing better than them.
So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that person if they're within your circle? How do you now deal with that relationship?
It's hard, but you have to put yourself forward. Once you realize that, make sure you take note and acknowledge it. I've been someone who has gone through that, and I keep giving people the benefit of the doubt, and it's only just, hurt more after that huge long process, rather than just actually accepting what's happening and trying to do something about it immediately. So for me, I had an experience of this, I think, last year, and it was someone who, in the end, it was just so draining. My energy was going, and every time I was around this person, I felt very negative, and even my thoughts started to change in the way that I spoke to myself, just because of how this person was. And I had to make a really tough decision and just say, I don't think I can spend this much time with you anymore. And I had to take a step back. And it was so worth doing, and I probably should have done it a bit sooner as well. You kind of just have to, put your boots on, tie them up, and do it.
So why do you think sometimes we hesitate in making that decision?
Well, for me personally, it's definitely just not wanting to cause upset. It feels so awkward sometimes, and you don't want to be that person who is causing an issue, and you might be afraid of confrontation, or the backlash can be scary. But you know what? I've been reading a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And I think you can apply that to almost anything. And I think that's, if you're scared of it, you're not going to be scared once you've done it, you know, and sometimes it is something that you just have to do. You just have to kind of put yourself in that position for it to actually go away.
Yeah. But how did you feel afterwards, though? How did you, when you finally made that decision, and was it a relief or?
Yeah, loads of relief. It was a huge weight lifted. Obviously, it did come with like a bit of sadness as well, because you know, there are certain people you don't want to lose, and you can sit and dwell and think, oh gosh, you know, that shouldn't have got to that. But actually, I've felt a lot more positive since, and yeah, luckily things have worked out.
That's good. That's good. Sometimes people blame themselves for when those relationships break up, even at work. They always look back at themselves. Remember, they always say, when you point your finger, 4 comes back to you. So people always think, oh, it's my fault this whole thing didn't work out. So they try to work on themselves rather than looking at the productivity of that person who's actually not delivering, you know.
That's another thing that, you know, we all probably need to work on, is actually accepting that, no, that person's also an adult and is in control of their decisions, and you can't take all of that on board. You're not responsible for how someone else acts and, you know, what they do.
Fantastic. So what's happening for Emily this year? Is there any events coming up? Any pageants being planned?
So we have, I mean, I'm presenting the curve pageants, but it just depends when they will be, because obviously it's usually summertime events. So everything at the moment is on hold, and we're waiting to see what happens. If things are cancelled, then we've got Miss International Curve in October. As far as competing myself, I'm still not sure. My little pageant heels are still in the cupboard. We will see.
I'm sure you will. When it gets closer to that time, the temptation and all the feelings will come back again.
Yeah, it keeps trying to get me. I see other people competing, and when I go to pageants myself, I'm like, oh, I'm getting the little tickles, like making me want to do it.
All right, darling. Thank you so much for the conversation.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me again.
And you too. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was amazing. So today we're talking about how to going separate ways, and different people going separate ways in their business. We're not really looking at relationships in terms of personal relationships. We're just looking at from a business point of view, a working relationship with somebody. You know, how do you kind of just say, listen, enough is enough. You know, I can't continue to put up. I'm going to call Julie Morris, so our next guest. How do we continue to cope? Do we just hang in there because we just feel that this person's a nice person, because they're so nice, we're just going to hang in there. We're just going to let it drag on and on and on. And then it drains you down. And then it drains your organization. And then it drains your team.
Hi, Ronnie.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much. Do you know, I almost forgot you were calling me. I was just in the garden, so I've just come back in now.
That's good timing.
Oh my gosh.
Go on then.
How are you?
I am buzzing. Introduce yourself first before we start chatting away.
My name's Julie. I'm an event organizer, author of children's books, entrepreneur, a little bit of everything.
And a gardener.
Lots of hobbies and interests. Oh, gardener, yes. Mum to 6, grandma to 14. Still in the university of life.
Fantastic. So how's your male? I saw your male lockdown pageant coming up. Am I correct?
Oh yes, that's coming up. Yeah, it's the male lockdown model of the year 2020. So we're looking for our top male model and hopefully, and that will go live the way we did our lockdown pageant last week, which was absolutely fantastic. There was a few glitches, of course, technical issues.
That's events for you. Everything happens at the last minute.
Yeah, but it went well, and you know, all the girls that were involved really enjoyed it. And I've started posting out their crowns today, so they'll all be getting their crowns soon. So that's good.
So what's the age group for the men, for the boys?
It will be 4+. Boys, men, 4 to 99 or 4 to 104. If you love modelling, and it'll run on the same lines as the lockdown pageant. Only this time we'll have some photographs and just one video of the boys, and we will choose we'll have a couple of judges to choose the male lockdown model of 2020, and there'll be prizes of a crown, a sash, the same as for the girls, and a photo shoot. And also we have a top designer from Tribal, and she has offered our winners to come and model for her at a photo shoot some of her designs. So that's great.
So please, if you're watching and you want to know more about this event, just type in Julie Morris on Facebook, and you get all the information. And drop
Facebook, or they can just go to the page, the male lockdown model of 2020.
Fantastic. Okay, so today we're talking about going separate ways in business relationships. Have you got any experience you'd like to share with us?
Yes, I have got a bit. I mean, thinking about that as over the course of the past couple of hours, and just I have worked with a couple of people that you think you gel with in the beginning, and then, you know, they do something that goes against your standards. And if you approach them, they say, well, no, this is my show, my standard, etc., etc. This is the way you have to do it. I think when you sign up for something, you have to see it through. And so I think you go with the flow, but put in your own stamp where necessary, and try not to lower your own standards. It's difficult sometimes because, you know, we're all human, and there are going to be people that you don't gel with or you don't get on with. The one thing that I will never do, and I advise nobody to do, is when you do fall out with somebody, you don't need to go behind that person's back and talk about them.
That happens a lot.
Because that then destroys your inner self as well. I mean, if something happens between you and somebody, that's where it should stay. Because you might not get on with somebody, you might not gel with somebody, but somebody else coming along will be just fine. So you should always be careful how you talk about somebody. Defamation of character, things like that. It doesn't do you any good. It makes you feel bad, and it's only that you don't have that sort of contact or connection with that person. Somebody else be fine with them. So I think that's one thing to actually think about, is don't talk about that person in a derogatory manner after you've had an upset with them. It does break my heart sometimes when you see people or hear people doing that, especially to one of your friends, you know, who you get on with fine. So I would say that, but it's life, and there are going to be people that we don't get on with. The way I deal with it is I will work with people, and if something does go wrong and doesn't sit well with me, I will carry on my job because that's what I'm paid to do, or that's what I've been asked to do. But then I won't carry on working for them in something else. I'll just say, well, you know, this didn't sit well with me. And again, be upfront, be honest, because they need to know. You know, if somebody's done something to offend you, then you can say, you know, actually, I get a bit offended by that, or that didn't sit well with me. There's nothing wrong. And I think we spoke about that a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about people's standards. If you're honest with somebody, they know where they stand with you. You know,
well, sometimes we're a bit. We try not to rock the boat. We try not to hurt people by keeping this. If they say something that really doesn't sit well with us, we just think, and then, you know, instead of just saying at that point, we just hold it back.
Yeah, and that's not good for the soul, is it? You know, holding things in.
It just gets worse.
but you do have to be mindful of other people's feelings. But if somebody is doing something outrightly wrong and they don't realise it's wrong, then it doesn't hurt to take that person aside and just say, well, do you think that this is the right way you should do it? Do you think perhaps we could do it this way? Or have you thought of this? Or, because there's no need to be derogatory or mean to anybody, really. And the other thing, of course, is when you're in a group of people that are all working together and you have a problem with one person, it's, in my opinion, and it is my humble opinion, I wouldn't be talking out loud to that one person in front of everybody else. I'd say, or do you think could I have a word with you, or have you got 5 minutes to spare me? So that it goes between you and that one person. There's no need to drag it out in front of everybody.
There's a saying for that you criticize in private and you praise in public.
No, I hadn't heard that saying, but that's a great saying. So I'll remember that.
It's quite important. Then also we want to talk about briefly
what? Sorry.
The question is, when you're growing in what you're doing, and then you tend to find out that some people just dislike you for growing as you growing and doing your thing. Why is that?
Well, it's got to be a bit of jealousy, I suppose, which is, it's a nasty thing. But if you, I think jealousy, or the fact that they've not hit on that thing, envy, they're just envious of you, and that usually comes out then in their performance around you, doesn't it? They don't want to give as much as they can, or they will say, well, no, I'm not doing that because she can do that fine on her own, that type of thing. I'm all about helping people, Ronnie, and I think if you're a grateful person and a thankful person, you will be happy around people and they'll be happy around you. And I am fortunate it's only happened with one person in maybe 20 years that I have actually not gelled with after I did 2 events with them, and then I found actually I didn't like the way they were using people, so I pulled away from that, and I'm still friends with that person.
Well, did you mention it to the person though?
I did actually. I did say I did. What I said was, because it was about money, and what I said was, do you think that you should say you're going to charge X, Y, and Z for this when you're not giving them anything in return? And the answer I got was, well, I'm trying to earn a living, and we're all trying to earn a living. But when especially, say, for instance, a model pays to be on the catwalk, they do want something back in return, because models work very hard. I mean, that's just an example. But yeah, we need to try and treat people better. We need to treat people as we would want to be treated ourselves, and try to sort of put the greed aside. But as I say, in about 20 years, it's only happened once with me and one other person, and I just mentioned that, and I haven't worked with that person since.
Thank you so much. We're running out of time, as usual.
I'm just a chatterbox. You know me, I could talk for England.
Always a pleasure. I'll speak to you next week, okay?
All right, and thank you, Ronnie. Bye-bye.
Congratulations. Bye. Oh, that's just great. The beauty of this show is so that we can educate and we can use our life experiences. So I want to thank all the guests again. We're about to call our next fantastic guest, Juliet, so we can use our experiences to educate and support one another. It's from what we have been through that we can identify some key things. The reason why I keep bringing up this, when you're growing in what you're doing, and you find that it becomes difficult for some people to really accept that you're growing, and it creates pain and all that, because it happens in a team, it happens in a group of people. So you have to be able to identify that and then understand that, listen, maybe it's time.
Hello.
Hi, Juliet, you're live on air. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Ronnie, and thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you so much. Nice to have you on air again. Please introduce yourself.
Oh, my name's Juliet Makhapila, and I love to introduce myself as I love love and love loves me. And I'm the African Wonder Woman.
Amazing.
Yes, and I'm really particularly interested with supporting our youth, mentoring, investing, and training, capacity building, and just building, improving livelihoods, and I believe that's something that we all have a true sense of purpose. So that's just a little bit about me.
Fantastic. So give us your opinion about the topic we're talking about: going separate ways in business or working together.
And thank you for this beautiful topic. I think this is really a topic that is, we need to really think about it and discuss it more in the community, because I find that that we have, I set expectation for people, but I am always very aware within myself that we have different types of people. And I want to refer to, I don't know if people have heard about T.D. Jakes. And T.D. Jakes is one of the preachers in America. But in around 2008, I want to just remind people in one New Year's revival, he speaks about different kind of peoples. And so within myself, I set myself different characteristics of different people. So these three different types of people, T.D. Jakes refers them to the confidants, the constituents, and the comrades. And he refers to like the confidants as people who love you for who you are, people who will add value to you, people who will really, really be with you because they love you, they see what you're doing, and they will always be there with you. So I picked up on him for this topic to help us explore this kind of topic that you've generated here today. Then he speaks about the constituency, where this type of people come to you because they're there for what you stand for, but they're not really there for you. It's just what they can pick. And when someone else comes in, they're there because that's what they can see. So those, and we should always expect those kind of people around us, but they have to be there to help you achieve your sort of like constituency, whatever you're trying to do. So I refer to him. I picked up him because I thought that's a good way to bring. And then he picks up on the third category, which is the comrades. And he speaks about these people. They're just there. If you're doing one particular thing, they will just say, oh, yeah, he's doing that or he's doing that. Let's support him. So today they're supporting you. Tomorrow they're not there. So I always love to joke and say, which one are you to us? Or which one are you to whatever? So I never really want to, I love to draw that kind of differentiation in terms of how do we ourselves, and in every single person, you know who you are. And to me, so for me, to separate people, because I've already got that in my head and I've already known what is expected in life. So put it that way, I've already sort of like detoxed myself and I'm ready, and I know even this the constituency are also willing to grow, but if they have to take. So it's about resourcing as well. Do I really want them at that time? Do I not want them? So it's just being aware at that particular time. So in terms of that, I think that's a great teaching which I have sent in your post today, because I thought if people watch that, they could learn more about what he's talking about. And in terms of myself as a person, is just creating boundaries. So boundaries in terms of like knowing between a different business. Myself, I don't try. I never mix friendship with business. And I remember my mom is an entrepreneur, and my mom always she had her own restaurant, cafe she called it, but she always has something saying, if I'm serving food on my cafe, don't ask me for credit. But if I'm at home, ask me for credit. So there's that separation from when I was a little girl, and that applied to the children. If we came to the restaurant, we knew that we had to really look for our little monies. But if we were at home, we knew we would get free meal. So you learn this. And I think keeping good friendship and separating that kind of separation that you're asking us, how do you go your way in the business, is being very clear from the start. When someone approaches you for business, from the very word go, understand that is business, understand that's charity, understand that is what they're trying to do, and this is what they're all about. And I think once many people understand this kind of differences, and I know that sometimes those kind of businesses develop into good friendship and develop into more of a more than what it's supposed to be. But it's being very clear from the start. And I think that way you avoid all that kind of heartache is knowing when somebody's asked you for business, they need you there for business. They don't need you for chit chat. You know what I'm saying? If you're being invited for a cup of tea, you're there for a cup of tea. And there is people that sometimes they don't even understand the difference. And sometimes it can be very difficult to sort of like separate these kind of things. And so I think that sometimes we need to be very clear. And also, sometimes somebody doesn't have to tell you. Sometimes you can just observe what that person is looking for. And being aware that that is what they expect from you is also something very important. And I always say to people personally when I'm...
Hello? Hi, are you there? Oh, we seem to have lost Juliet there for a second.
I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, so we just got caught.
Yeah, sorry, I was saying, so capacity building is something that is important in our life. So what I'm saying is, if people really want to know what Ronnie is all about, it's by listening to him, what he's really interested for. If you're not listening carefully, sometimes you're too quick to judge, and sometimes you can misconstrue what people want. You might think you know, but actually you don't know. So it's always worth asking the question.
Your line is going really bad. It's like you moved from where you are. The signal is going to be funny, but carry on.
Can you hear me now? I've moved.
It's perfect now, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I had moved. So it's these walls, big walls. Sorry about that, viewers. Yeah, so it's just being clear, really, what people really want from you. And I think that when you learn what somebody enjoys, you learn to give them what they really love as well. Because I always say to people, if you really want to add somebody's life or add value to that person, is understand where they're coming from, is understand what they're all about, it's understand what it is they're trying to do. And once you're able to do that, then you're able to live with gratitude and abundance with that person. But many a times people want to inflict what they think you should be about. And I think sometimes it's stop and reflect, really. Is that what that person really is all about? Because you might be trying to add value, but actually their thinking is completely different from what you're doing. So I think in terms of going your separate ways, is explaining how to make sure that they understand that actually this is not what you're all about. Your friendship will not be affected. Your businesses will be affected because actually you're probably not even in the same line. I know for sure I've had to make tough decisions in life personally. And I know around 2008, 2009 there, I had to make really, really a big decision whereby I needed certain people to really, it's not that I don't like them, it's just that I was completely, maybe if I didn't make that decision to really move away from...
Just summarize in 1 minute. We've got 1 minute left. Sorry, just kind of give a summary. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And I think separating, going separate ways, I think that with love, you can go separate ways. With love, you can always open up that opportunity to talk about the things that you love, to talk about seeing what it is you can get on together, but leaving it open, leaving it open in a way that, okay, this is where we don't really agree. So in that kind of perspective, I think we're able to build a better world.
Amazing, Juliet. Thank you so much for that advice. Thank you so much for that feedback.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me on your show as well.
You're most welcome, darling. Have a great day, okay?
Thanks to everybody watching in Kenya as well. Thank you.
Bye, Kenya. How do you say that? How do you say bye in Kenya? In Swahili?
We say Kwaheri, Kenya. We love you. Asante sana.
Kwaheri,
I can see
Kenya,
I can see John Tanui and everybody watching from Kenya and in Nigeria as well. We thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, that was amazing. That's amazing, Juliet. She does a lot of work in Kenya and does a lot of community work with the youths in the UK. And there's so many amazing people who do great things, who need recognition to appreciate them for what they do. Our next guest is the amazing Bunmi, the CEO for Meet the Royals and the organizer for the great event. Ooh, what's happening there? I tried to connect and just went not connecting. So hi, Bunmi. So if you're watching anywhere you are, your phone is not connecting for some reason. We're good now. We're good to go.
Hello.
Hi, Bunmi. How are you? You live on air. How are you?
Oh, hello, Ronnie. Good afternoon. I'm very well. Hello, everybody.
Yay! The CEO is in town. Please introduce yourself, please.
Nice to be on the show. My name is Bunmi Osiberu, mostly known as Bunmi Meet the Royals. I'm an event planner, an event organizer. I'm also a host, event host, and I'm also a host of a show, just like Ronnie. I have got my own show that I host now.
Yes. What's the show called? You are a proud host of your show. What's it called?
Yes,
Tell me.
it's called Let's Talk Traditional Weddings with Bunmi Meet the Royals.
That's it. I love it. I always people just watch a few minutes and it's getting better and better. Well done, okay?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, fantastic. We're talking about going separate ways in business and working relationship together. What's your opinion on this topic?
Well, I've been hearing people speaking about this because I just joined about 20 minutes ago. To be honest with you, it's always hard to say goodbye.
Yeah.
It's always hard to say goodbye. So at some point, you're going to have to say goodbye to people, whether they are positive towards you or negative.
Yeah.
So when it comes to people that are negative to you, you just have to say goodbye, because if you don't say goodbye, that means you're being sentimental. And sentiment can sometimes, if you leave it for too long, it's going to hurt more. If you know that it's going to get into trouble, especially if you have spoken to them. Like I heard Julie Morris earlier saying, talk to the person one-on-one and blah, blah, blah. If you've done everything and nothing seems to be happening, nothing to be changing, it's better to just say goodbye, even if the person is going to take it the right way or not. Because if you don't say goodbye on time, it's going to continue to hurt you and it might harm your business. So sentiments aside, you're going to have to let the person move on, and you're going to have to move on as well.
This person has been with you from the beginning. They've worked hard with you, and now that Meet the Royals is or ever involved, it's not a big event. Now you want to say you don't want them anymore. That's not fair, is it?
Well, that's what they would say. I've got an experience like that, actually. I've got an experience because when I started Ever in Vogue, I invited 2 other people to let us co-own the business. But after the first year, they both came up with some funny thing. That's why I shouldn't leave it for too long, And I have to say, they didn't say the vision the way I see it. And they went saying things the way I saw it, and they were going to be slowing me down. And luckily, with prayers and with, they both went their separate ways. But you know that when the event was not getting big, they still went about saying things like, oh, we were just together when we started, now she's big and that. They didn't do more than 1 year. So people will always say things. Anyway, they will always say things. Even if they didn't put a penny in your show, the fact that they started with you, they're going to go about saying things. That's up to you. As long as your conscience is clear, I haven't cheated these people, I haven't done anything bad towards them. It's fine. Eventually, the truth will catch up.
So why do you feel that you left it that long before you made that decision?
I didn't, like in my own case, I didn't leave it that long, to be honest. I left it. I let them go after the first year in the institution I had. But also, as I'm talking, I have people that have been with me from the beginning. If it's going to, because people get toxic along the way, they get influenced maybe by listening to other people, or just all of a sudden because you're getting big, they believe you should do more and blah, blah, blah. So sometimes we just have to close our eyes and let people go. In fact, that, if husband and wife can go separate ways after some time, things just doesn't work like this. It doesn't work out. Unfortunately, people are going to have to leave, because if you don't let them leave, I'm serious, it's going to be an issue. And the more you patch things up, the more you harm yourself, the more you hurt your feelings, the more you leave your business at a detriment. And it can be it can be boomerang. It can become a boomerang. It can come back in your face if care is not taken.
But it's hard though. It's hard if you really.
It is hard,
isn't it?
Honestly, it's hard. People like me, I am very, very sentimental. I'm always very careful. So people don't say. But at the end of the day, people are going to say anyway. So better you close your eyes sometimes and just let this happen. Now, don't get me wrong. As I'm talking, don't say, oh, that's how easy it is for me. But that's one thing I'm learning nowadays. I used to be the type that hold on for so long. I'll be hurting. And the truth is, these people, they can see through you. They know, she's not going to let me go. She cherishes me. She's going to be too afraid of what people will say. I think I'm getting to a point where now I'm looking at people in the face and say, I really don't really to care what people say. As long as my conscience is there, and I know I haven't cheated you and I haven't hurt you, but you are becoming toxic to my business, or you're becoming toxic to me, I'm just going to have to let you go. You know, one thing I'm going to be sure I do is I would never cheat anybody. I would never take anybody for granted. I'm a very grateful person. I always want to pay you back as much as you have supported me. After you leave, if I'm still in the position to help you in any way, I wouldn't. It doesn't stop me from, if you don't mind.
So how do you deal with the? Sorry to interrupt you. How do you deal with the backlash? Because most of the time when you let these people go, they just go behind you and start backstabbing and talk.
I think it's part of the package that we need to learn to accept. People will say things, though. Even if you let them say, if you still let them say, and they're hurting you, people will still say things. So it's like people will talk if you do, people will talk if you don't. So you have to choose the one that pays you most.
True.
People would always talk. But one thing, there is something called conscience. If your conscience is clear, and one thing is, my people say that even when lies go for 20 years, it takes a day for the truth to catch up. One day the truth will catch up, because the person will actually show the kind of person they are. And people are going to come back and say, oh, we thought it was something that was bad. She's actually the bad one, or he's actually the bad one. The truth will eventually catch up. So that's one thing that we need to know. But for you to keep somebody just because you don't want people to talk.
Yeah, so in summary, what is your advice on going separate ways in doing business with people that are toxic?
You just have to let go when the time is right. The timing has to be right. You just have to let go, because if you don't, you just have to put sentiment aside. That's what I've been saying from the beginning of this. Put sentiment aside. If the person is becoming toxic and it's going to harm you personally, it's going to harm your business, you just have to shut your eyes and let them go. If you have done everything possible to kind of work things out and it's not working, you're just going to have to let go. You're just going to have to let go. We've seen a lot of big businesses that they have to go their separate way at some point. We used to have Lloyd's TSB. Now we have Lloyd's and we have TSB.
Amazing. So tell us about Ever in Vogue. How is it coming now that the lockdown is gradually coming down? Are you getting more hopeful?
We are actually still in the middle of nowhere. We're not sure what is going on yet.
I know.
So if things keep going this way, by the end of June, we're probably going to have to move. We're going to have to cancel for this year or postpone or something. But for now, we're still hopeful. It's quite dicey at the moment.
What month do you normally hold? Is it September or August?
It's usually September. It's usually the first week in September.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know you did mention something about people that are jealous. I just want to say that very quickly.
Go on.
If people are not jealous of you, that means you're not moving. You are not moving. You're not doing anything. You're not moving. So it's part of the package. That's an assurance that you're doing well. And now, how do you deal with those people? It's part of the package. I would rather focus my attention on people that support me, that love what I'm doing, that will waste my efforts and my emotions on people that are jealous. They'll be fine eventually.
I love
But one thing I want to say to people is, if people are not jealous, that means you're on a standstill. You're not being impactful. You're not moving. You're not doing anything right. So it's a sign that you're doing well. And it's something that, as a business that is growing, it's something that you have to be prepared for. And whenever they happen to you, do not focus on them. Focus on good people. Thank you. I heard Juliet saying she can talk for Africa. I said, I can talk for Africa as well.
Thank you so much, darling.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
I just love my guests. They're just so real and so natural, and just they just want to help. It's like it's like intoxicating people who just want to give and want to help all the time, and want to just empty themselves for the benefit of others. And that's just what life is. We should empty ourselves for the benefit of others. And let me call my fantastic Esther, who is always educating me.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Esther. Akin-George in the house.
Oh my gosh, I'm just feeding off the mic. I said, where's Ronnie on today? What are you on today? Oh my goodness.
It's like it starts from Sunday, it goes up. It's like it goes up and it goes up and then it comes down
I'm
again.
telling you, you're lifting me. Honestly, the last couple of days have been tough, so you're definitely lifting my spirits.
Thank
How are you
you.
doing?
So please tell us about Esther Akin-George before we carry on, please.
Okay, well, apart from being a mom of two amazing children, I'm an educator, but I also run a health, wellness, and beauty online business. Been doing that for the last 4 years, and yeah, having so much fun meeting people like yourself.
Fantastic. So we're talking about going separate ways in business and working with people. What's your experience on this topic?
Well, to be honest, it's
Your line is breaking a bit.
I know I'm going to try and move myself because I have really horrible reception in this place. To be honest with you, myself personally, and it's not the nicest of feelings.
What's happened to your reception today? It used to be good though. Today seemed to be
through starting business,
Okay.
through, for goodness knows what reason, but I find it quite a challenging one as well, because as you know, I'm very much a people person, and it's very difficult when you do lose friends and you lose people because they don't actually have the vision of what you're doing, which is fair enough, which is great. But when you lose them because of that, I mean, were they true friends in the first place? So it makes you think.
Well, if they've been with you, working with you for a while, would you keep that friendship going on? Would you keep them working with you because you're friends?
Sorry, I wasn't sure if you'd finished.
No, I have.
Okay. With regards to, business and pleasure, like business and friendship can be mixed together if it is equally balanced, as in you are supporting each other's efforts and each other's skills and promoting one another, encouraging one another. But if it is to the detriment of what you're doing, it makes no sense in them being there in that position, because all it does is hinders. It also makes you question what you're doing and prevents you from actually achieving what you want to achieve, because you're trying to please the friend rather than building your business. So sometimes you do have to separate the two and hopefully not lose the friendship. If it's something that's worth keeping on to, then you should be able to keep the two. But like I said, for me personally, I've lost friendships because people just were not supporting what I was doing, and I don't know whether it was a threat or a challenge. To be honest, don't really know when you're helping people.
That brings us back to another thing we're talking about again, is these people are your friends. They were your very close friends. Well, according to Juliet, whether they were comrades or whether they were your I can't remember the other two categories she said. I'll read it. But why would they feel confident? That's what she said. Confident or your comrades or constituents. So why would they feel threatened if they're your close friends? Shouldn't they be happy for you?
Well, that's what I would have said. I would definitely have said that. But then I've had to really challenge myself and really, speak to myself and say, were they true friends in the first place? Were they just there to see what you could do for them, or whether, and see how far that friendship could go? Because it does happen. And you find that you've come into business relationships, or I've had to categorize people into different categories, and I can literally count people I can count on one hand. You know what I mean? And and that's friendships as well as business partnerships as well. So sometimes I just don't think they marry very well. But when you've had a long-term friendship with somebody, and this is what I'm speaking of, because that's my experience, it is very difficult, and it is it's a painful experience. But it's a learning curve as well, because I love people, And sometimes people misconstrued that as well. And they use a good nature, and a lot of the people speaking today, I mean, I know most of them. So it's like how they are is exactly the spirit that we should all be. And that's why we're in the same sphere. You know, understand what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, that's why we get on and we do and we support one another. But then when you have that in long-term friendships, it's a very difficult one to actually get your head around.
So how do you deal with the backlash of all the backstabbing and negativity and all that rubbish?
You need to grow thick skin, Ronnie. And if you know the answer, please tell me, because I haven't got there yet. You know, I'm still learning. As I say, I'm still in school. But it's sometimes you just have to. I keep going back to something Lauren said about taking a mental vacation. And I love taking mental vacations these days. I really do, because sometimes you do have to take, even if it's family, friendships, whatever it is, you have to take a mental vacation from that scenario. Now you then have to put it into a situation that, how is that scenario impacting on my mental health, and how is it impacting on my business? Because it starts with your mental health for you to achieve in business, because you need to build relationships. So if your mental health is not the right place, or your demeanor or your thinking is not in the right place to be able to speak and talk and meet people, that friendship is to your detriment. Does that make sense?
It makes 100% sense. That is simply put and well put. And then, in conclusion, tell us about Ester Akin-George. What are you doing this year? How can people get in touch with you, and what do you do?
Oh, amazing. I mean, it's been a whirlwind year, as you know. We had a lot of plans which are on hold, and I'm looking forward to when those plans come in place. But as my business is online, they can reach me on my personal page, or they can go to my email address at eezevents.management@gmail.com and just drop me a line. Or go to my websites and use the amazing exclusive products and get paid to shop and, create a residual income.
Please leave a link of your website and yourself on the comment below, so people who can
Okay, I will do. Yeah,
just
absolutely. And there is an event on tonight, and there is a summit on Saturday. These are 3 events that I had with business partners in the US as well, where they can plug in and learn a bit more about the business and what I do.
Fantastic. Please just leave the link below, so whoever's watching now, or whoever's watching a year from now, or next tomorrow,
amazing,
they can
as they do,
and know more about you. Thank you so much for your love and your support all the time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ronnie, and so appreciate everything that you do. People don't really know half the things you do, but I'm so blessed to have you in my life. It's the glory of
God. That's why you should always look up.
Absolutely. And thanks for lifting me up today.
No worries, man. Take care of yourself. All the best.
You too, my darling.
Bye.
Have a wonderful weekend.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, I just feel amazing. It's just so sweet to talk to great people. And an audience, if you're out there watching and listening, please, I appeal to you. Before I call my last guest, the amazing Chooks, I think I'll save my talking, because when I start talking, I can talk for 10 minutes and I'll eat into his time. So let's give Chooks a call, and then I'll round up the last 10 minutes, But I just want to thank my guests for today. They've just been so fantastic, and they are just been so, helpful. Chooks actually runs a housing organization, so I am sure his input will be able to give us a lot of lessons on how. What are you doing, big man? Hey, big man.
I'm great. How are you?
I was getting worried about you. How are you?
I'm awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Amazing. Please tell us about you and what you do, and then we can continue.
Great stuff. So my name is Chooks, and I'm the CEO of Kent Housing. We provide accommodation for construction, film crew, hospitals, and housing associations. So that's pretty me in a nutshell.
Fantastic. Excluding all the charity work that you do in Kent, tell us about that quickly.
Yeah, so what we do, we've launched this new campaign, give a shopping bag campaign. So pretty much it's helping local families in the community provide them with food. And we tend to say we would aim to feed, say, 10 families a week. So we fill shopping bags and take to families that need food.
Wow.
And we just contribute to the community. Like my ethos always says, sow where you reap. Always sow where you reap.
Amazing. Right, so tell us about going separate ways in business and working relationships. What's your view on this topic?
I think going separate ways, I don't know if I probably didn't tell you. I went separate ways. In February, and yes, with the gentleman that you met when you came to Kent. Yes.
Wow,
After
a big one.
It's a big one. After 6 years. After 6 years, and one of the things that about sometimes you know that you need to go on your own. And I think for me, really, as an entrepreneur, it's giving me that wing to fly. Yeah, I can make my own decisions. I don't have to go to someone else to approve. I just give it. I just go for it now. It puts a bit of fire in you. And like I said, partnership is great. Don't get me wrong. I learned a lot in partnership. But now that I'm on my own, I can make decisions quicker. I want to build a brand in the way I want to build it. So it works for me. I was like, yeah.
So how would you? Question now is, and not particularly referring to that breakup, but taking experience from that, at what point did you know that, listen, I think it's time for me to go my own way?
Oh, very good question. I think for me, I realized that when you start doing the same thing all over again, you're repeating the same thing, every year is the same, you now ask yourself, there are two choices I can make. It's like looking for a job. Do I still stick with a job, or do I move on to another job? So that's when you start evaluating, is that have you grown professionally? Have you grown mentally? Where were you 2 years ago compared to now? So you make a comparison. And I think when you make a comparison, then you now make a decision that I need a change. And for me, that's when I realized that, wow, change is not happening and I need to make that happen now. So that's when I decided to change.
Was it a hard decision to make?
It was a very hard decision, because when you've been in a relationship, it's like being married. When you've been in a relationship for years, your brain gets used to doing things together. Your brain gets used to making decisions together. So you've got that butterfly inside you saying, wow, how am I going to survive this now? This is now survival. Am I going to be able to make this happen? So it's a bit of a scary decision. With every relationship, there's a scary decision, but for entrepreneurs like ourselves, we have to make that decision to make a difference, So we've got to be bold. There's that saying, feel the fear and just do it. So that's the mindset we have: feel the fear and do it. Be bold. So
how do you deal with the backlash of that? How do you deal with the atmosphere in the office, and how do you deal with all that after that?
I think with obviously when most relationships when most relationships break up, you always tend to find that there's that thin line between, what do they say, between love and hate.
Yes. It's a thin line between
love and hate, but what we try to do, we try to be amicable and professional. Thank God for that we can be amicable and professional, and we walk away and shake hands and say, you know what, all the best in what you do. all the best in what I do, you know, and you can walk away tall and say, you know what, we respected ourselves. You know what I mean? You know, at the end of the day, you got to have respect, you know, and also with my belief, I'm a Christian as well. And one of my belief is that, you know what, we wish people well in everything they do. Yeah. In the same way, I'm hoping vice versa. Yeah. So we walk away and shake hands respectfully, regardless of the situation. I say, good luck to you, good luck to myself. And if there's anything that, I mean, like for me now, when I get business come to me and I can't handle it, I pass it on to them. I pass it on to the other company. Yeah. So that's where I feel that, you know what, just give people, just give to them. You know, don't never go away with hurt feelings. Yeah. Because you never know where you meet up in life again. Yeah. So just be diplomatic and be respectful. Yeah. That's how I deal with that.
Fantastic. So what's your opinion about, because we talked briefly about jealousy, about hating, about, you know, when you're growing, you find out that other people are starting to hate you and dislike you and jealous. What's the opinion about that feeling, and how do you deal with that?
About jealousy okay. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. Every human being, every human being that has blood and air in them has a bit of jealousy. Okay. But there are two things you can do about jealousy. Your jealousy can be positive jealousy or negative jealousy. Yeah. Okay. And what I mean positive jealousy is like you see someone who is striving. Yeah. Okay. It's like for yourself. When I see you do a lot of the charity work, I see a lot of the people do. I said, wow, that's awesome. I want to be like that. I want to emulate him. You understand? You know, yes, there is that thing. I want to be like him. Yeah. You see, some people will look at it and say, oh, bloody hell, he's full of himself. It's that and all of that stuff. You know, you know, for me, what I look at it and I said, you know what, if I see someone striving at some field or some career that I feel that I enjoy, that I want to be, you know, I look at it and said, I'm going to aim for that. I'm going to be like that person. Okay. I don't look at it and say, oh boy, he's full of himself. Oh, who does he think he is? You know, I try to get rid of negative jealousy. Like I said, every human being we're humans, we have a speck of jealousy in us, but it's how do you turn it around? Is it going to be positive? Is it going to be negative? That's the way I look at it. And I look at it as a positive feel, positive emotion for me. Yeah.
Fantastic. So what's in the horizon for Chris Uwaechia for 2020?
For Chooks Uwaechia. Chris, where did you get Chris from?
Sorry, Chooks, sorry, man. Damn. Well, Cracker, what's in the horizon for Chooks Uwaechia for 2020?
Ronnie J, I think for me, like I always say, Ronnie, is that we always have to look at things and say, what new things am I going to do? What new things? For me is the food challenge, the food bank thing. Like we're in this period where things are tight, you know, things are tough. Do you understand? You know, and for me is like I'm going to set up that foundation now. Yeah, I'm going to make sure that I do more. You know, I give more. I'm more involved, you know, socially, you know, I'm going to try and empower more people, you know, because I always say for me, at the end of the day, you know, having my own business is not for me. It's to bless lives. That's my ethos.
That's the essence. That is the essence of
Big
life.
Big time, you know. If it's for me, I don't need it. Honestly, if it's for me for my own personal gain, take it away. I don't need it.
No,
do you know what I mean?
Rephrase that. You do need it to look after your family.
Oh, no,
but
totally.
Your core joy and motivation, it's not because you want to be a multi-billionaire.
No.
Whatever you get in life, you want to be able to take care of your family and give to support as much people as you can.
Exactly. You've hit the nail on the head, You've hit the nail on the head. And it's pretty much empowering people, my family, empowering those who are outside my family, and blessing their lives. Yeah. And if I can do that, you know, I've done well.
I'm still waiting for my £100,000 check, you know. I see I come around the post.
You're breaking up, right?
I say I'm still waiting for my £100,000 check. He hasn't come around yet.
I love that.
Amazing, Chooks, man. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much. I appreciate your call, and keep up the good work. And like I said, keep inspiring, my brother, because a lot of people depend on you. You know that, yeah?
Amazing.
You're the one lifting us up and helping us, and we get inspired when we see you and when we hear from you. Thanks, Ronnie. I appreciate you. Thank you. Cheers. God bless you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks. Bye.
Wow, amazing guys, man. Amazing. Just lovely, fantastic people, and greatly thank you. A big thank you to Bunmi, a big thank you to Juliet, a big thank you to Emily. Amazing Chooks, amazing Esther, wonderful Julie. You all are just fantastic. We had a great conversation today, and today we talked about helping going separate ways in business or work in relationships. We heard from all our guests, and I think one thing that was similar, one thing that was a reoccurring decimal was, in life, in business, if you really want to make a difference, if you really want to move and go to the next level, you have to go through the pain of removing the little things, of changing your situation. You can't keep doing the same thing. You can't keep doing the same thing every single day and expect there to be a different result. That's just madness. Okay? So you have to look at it and say, listen, I'm working with this person. I've been working with this person for a long time. We've been working together, you know, but it has come to a head whereby we're just not making any headway. We're not going forward. We're just where we are. We're just plateauing where we are, and eventually we're going to die. So something has to give. You have to make that painful decision to say, listen, somebody has to go. And however, there's another thing I want to stress. You know, this is a very important point I want to raise, and I would like you to listen carefully, okay? The point is this: in your journey to success, in your journey to achieving your dream, you're going to, I think I had this conversation with Sabrina in her show. You go over to Sabrina bin Salim's show, go to her page and listen to her show. But going back to my point, in your journey to achieving your dreams, you're going to meet different people. You're going to meet people that will help you to start, people that will help you to increase your speed, people that will help you to finish, people that will help you to celebrate, people that will help you to count. At every stage in your life, it is an event that you are going through. At every stage in your life, it's an event. When you were planning your vision, it's an event. And at that event stage, you had people around you to help you plan that event. When you move to now execute the project, it's another event. Some people will drop off, some will come with you. Not everybody that starts the journey with you will finish with you. And don't get angry. Don't get upset. Don't get upset and say, oh, they didn't come with me. Oh, they're angry and blah, blah, blah. No. Appreciate these people for what they have done for you at that point in your life, that they were with you. Because they were sent and they were assigned to be with you, or they came to you at that time to help you to move to level 2. Unfortunately, they can't be in level 2 because they don't want to be in level 2. They got their own things that they need to do. They got their own vision. They got their own life. They got their own plans. So just because they're not coming all the way with you, you're getting upset. Don't do that. Okay? Just understand that reality is everyone's got their own vision, their own plans. If at level 1, their vision ties with your vision, they help you. They work with you. When you get to the next level, they might think, hang on, that's not my vision. That's not where I'm going with my life. So I wish you all the best. You carry on. I'm going to carry on doing my thing. You should be grateful. And what you should do is, as you grow, you look over to these people that helped you at the beginning and go back and lift them up if they need lifting up. If you're in a position to lift them up, that's how we should live our lives. That's how I live mine, in my opinion. That's why I don't get angry. You know, there's so many people that we started together. There are very few that are still with me now. There are very few that are still going to be with me when we get to where we're going. It's just the way it is. It doesn't mean I'm angry. It doesn't mean I'm no longer speaking to these people or they're no longer my friends. No. We're still going to be communicating and supporting each other. But I just understand that it is just not possible for them to run the race that I am running, because what I am carrying is different from what they are carrying. What I see is different. It's like what Bunmi was saying amid the royal. She said when she started her Ever in Vogue, there was a vision, but as they were growing, the vision got bigger. She saw a bigger vision, but her team could not go with her to where she's going. So she had to make this painful decision to let them go. The same thing Chuk said. For 6 years they've been working together, but all of a sudden it just plateaued. He had to make a decision and say, listen, for me to raise to the next level, I have to split up. So please don't get angry with people when they're growing. Just understand that it's just the way nature is. You've got your own path to pursue. And I loved what Julie said. Julie talked about not using people. Be honest with everybody. Know yourself. Juliet talked about your character. When you understand your character, when you understand that it's a business relationship, no need for sentiments. Man, life's too short. I love you all so much, and I thank you all for this great show. Great learning, an amazing Esther, amazing Emily, amazing people. You all are just continuously, let me put your pictures up again. You all just continuously speak your heart and use your experiences in life to be a blessing to people. And that's what life is about. And trust me, if you continue to give and you continue to sow into people's life, the doors will open for you. Opportunities will come for you. Life will change. You'll feel better about yourself. You will not have time to envy and talk about nonsense and all this rubbish behind people's back. You will focus. You will channel your energy. It's like what Marie Diamond was talking about, channeling your energy into delivering your vision rather than using your energy on other things that's just going to deplete you. All right, it's been an amazing show. Great time talking to you. I'm looking forward to talking to you on the next show and the next show and the next show. Please, if you haven't subscribed yet, go to our YouTube page and subscribe. And thank you those watching in Kenya, those watching in Nigeria, those watching all the way from America. I bless you all, and from London, wherever you're watching from. I get your messages, and it's going to be an amazing year, man. Let's keep going. Never let anyone tell you that you can't achieve your dream or you're not good enough to achieve your dream. They ain't got that right. They ain't got it. Trust me. It's your decision. How far you want to go is your decision. God bless you. Have a great day. One love.